what I was even looking at. Like, was this fresh or old? What actually happened here?
People go missing out there. It takes days to find them, and most of the time, they're not found alive.
So I was just laying here chilling out, and something went plowing through the bushes.
Have you ever felt that spine-chilling sensation that you're being watched in the woods? Imagine being miles off grid, trapped by an agitated man acting erratically, or caught in a tense standoff with a defensive wild animal. If your peaceful trip became a terrifying wilderness encounter, what is your first move? This disturbing wilderness encounter comes from the channel Moxley's Paranormal World, who set out to camp near the remains of St. Patrick's Chapel, a remote cliffside location dating back to the 8th century and believed to contain ancient Viking burial sites.
This place dates back to the 8th century. We're going to do an overnight camp, do a haunted camp, paranormal camp. So this place has got a history of a pirate wreck, Vikings, there's stone graves carved into the bedrock here. This should be a good one, and I will see us when we're on the road.
This video was uploaded on August 25th, 2022. After setting up camp along the coastline, the investigator waited until nightfall before heading alone toward the ruins to begin what would become a disturbing camping encounter in this isolated wilderness area. The atmosphere quickly turned unsettling. While exploring the nearby graveyard, a sudden loud crash echoed behind him.
Was taken down in 1860. Hello? What the f*** was that? What was that?
Bringing him to an immediate stop. Moments later, something even more unusual happened. From the chapel above, he noticed movement near his campsite. At first, he assumed it was just his friend below, but then he realized there was another figure standing in the darkness, watching the camp from the cliff.
Can still hear movement out and about, so we're just trying to keep it low-key. Apart from now where I've just had to turn the light on. I don't know if it's the same people or different people, but there's definitely somebody else out and about, so I'm going to turn the lights off for a bit. Right, so we both just sat having a bit of a snack, and we just heard some of the weirdest screams coming from right there. And I'm telling you now, it was no animal. It was no animal, that.
This encounter quickly turned into something disturbing. Later that night, strange screams echoed across the cliffs, followed by the sound of someone using a flashlight from the ruins, adding to the tension of this experience. As he rushed back down the path to check on his friend, he saw multiple individuals moving silently along the narrow trail. They said nothing, only standing and watching as he passed.
That noise could have been a bird, but birds don't flash torches. You know what I mean? So Bentley doesn't want to come back in here just yet. He wants to sit out there because there's 100% somebody else out there. Because I'm going to finish my crisps off and my water. So we'll see what happens. People I don't know. But I have said to Bradley now, I said what we'll do. Even though it's gone quiet now, we will stick together for the rest of the night. But look how steep this is. I could have sworn I heard somebody walking. But as you can see just up there, Bradley's sat up there.
Whether something paranormal or human, one thing was clear: they were not alone. Maybe some things out there don't move or react the way normal people do. So if you were caught in a disturbing wilderness encounter like this, would you stay or leave? Tate is someone who enjoys fishing and from time to time, hunting as well. His videos have helped him build a large audience by showing people how to fish the right way, trying different challenges, and simply enjoying the outdoors. But in this particular video, uploaded on June 18th, 2022 on the channel Fishin' with Tate, something completely different took place. Something that left him uneasy and genuinely afraid for his life after coming across someone with very strange intentions. He returned to a remote wilderness fishing spot he had visited before, where something had already happened to him in the past.
Last time we was out here, you guys didn't get to see the footage, but we actually had a guy with a machete come down here and he was like hacking stuff away, and he wasn't very rude. We ended up having a conversation with him later, but he basically just wanted us to make sure we took all our trash with us. There's something down here on a tree. I almost thought that was a dead body. I was like, oh God. I know audio is terrible. It always is here, but you kind of have to take the good with the bad.
Something caught his attention down near a tree, making him pause for a moment. For a second, it looked like something much worse, enough to make him react. He also mentioned the audio quality, acknowledging that it wasn't great in that area, but it was something he had to deal with. It didn't take long before the man with the machete appeared again, and this time he seemed even more agitated, at least based on Tate's description. At first, they kept their distance, staying cautious and unsure, but eventually they moved a little closer, trying to understand what was happening.
We know our buddy come down through here, the guy that was wielding the machete that we talked about in the last video, I believe. Huh? No, I don't see you. Well, we're making our way to him. How's it going, buddy? Some more nice little holes down in here. Go get it, John. John is not about that retying life. He's going full send. Buddy's 100% tweaking right now. Got one. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, what's up? Look at that. Getting a little color in the pool pond. Right there. Right on that little, I forgot what that's called. Nope. Really? What's that? As far as I need to go? Something wrong? What's that? Are you good?
I am, but yeah, y'all ain't just fish, but yeah, you don't come back here.
Okay. We usually fish all the way down through there. Why not?
Maybe I'm having to walk out.
What's that? Hung up.
I'll show you what.
Okay, sure. Okay.
There's certain things here, if you look close enough,
Yeah.
that is old, probably before Roman Empire.
Okay.
You're not going to find nothing like fancy gold or anything like that. It's just, it's got my name on it.
Okay.
Etched in the rock.
Okay.
But anyway, it's mine.
Okay.
And something else. I do believe a city right up there.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, I ain't trying to be a dick.
I got you.
This is just, you know,
Yeah.
my head.
I got you. We've fished down through there several times. If we were to find something, we don't want to take anything.
There's a lot more than, you know.
The man began acting as if the area belonged to him, immediately trying to assert control and limit how far they could go. He started talking about objects in the area, but his words didn't seem clear or connected, making it obvious that something wasn't right about him. Considering he had shown up before carrying a machete, the situation became even more concerning. His behavior felt unpredictable. Even though he didn't have a weapon this time, Tate and his friends didn't take any risks and chose to contact the police, so that if anything ever happened in that area again, there would already be a report and someone aware of the situation.
There's a guy down there. He is absolutely tweaking out. And he said that we didn't need to go any farther down the creek. He's down there chilling on a rock. So, kind of hate to call the cops because we fish here a lot and I've seen him here multiple times. You guys call the cops, you know what I mean? So, I don't know if you want to go down and check it out or if you just want to keep it in mind and maybe...
If he's down there tweaking, I go down and look him dead.
He's tweaking.
Alright, I'm gonna call some else.
Okay, it's probably... He does have a machete that he wields a lot, so...
He's called me down here before.
Okay, I got you. All right, thank you.
Alright. I'm doing
Tate visits that creek often and would like to bring his child there one day to enjoy the same experience. But because of the uncertainty surrounding that man's behavior, he admitted he wouldn't feel safe doing that. and for good reason. Someone who speaks in a disconnected way and appears to hear things that aren't there clearly isn't in a stable state of mind. Add a weapon into a situation like that, and it quickly becomes dangerous. It doesn't take much for something like this to escalate, and in situations like this, it could easily turn into something much worse. That's why contacting the police was the right decision, making sure there is already awareness and a record if anything happens there again. Sometimes situations like this don't make sense right away, but would you take that risk and go back there again? Deep in Washington's Sullivan Creek Wilderness, a team of researchers led by the Channel Grassman 58 set up camp to investigate unusual activity reported in the area. What unfolded over the next few nights would leave them questioning what was truly moving through those woods.
Up the main road, we want to go check out the Salmo Priest wilderness area. There was a nice overlook with a great view, until we eventually came to an area where we couldn't go any further because there was a tree blocking the main road. So we slowly drove down, and I was just scanning the sides of the road where all the snow was, looking for any possible tracks and stuff like that. But then we pulled over to a little spot to take in the view.
While driving along a remote mountain road, one of the investigators suddenly heard a loud wood knock echo through the forest, a sound often associated with Bigfoot encounters. The knock came from the exact same location where similar sounds had been reported the day before. But the most disturbing moment happened later that night. The previous day, while they were hiking along the hillside searching for that same wood knock, one of them had driven into the area and repeated the same actions, stepping out of the vehicle and hearing a knock in that exact location.
Marshall said he just heard a knock.
I think I heard a knock.
He thinks he heard a knock.
I mean, we're driving on gravel and it's making noise, but
yeah,
this was like a knock.
Now, the day before, while we were hiking the hillside looking for that wood knock, Aaron had driven up this area. He ended up getting out of his car, and he ended up hearing a wood knock in this exact same area.
As everyone slept inside their tents, one camper suddenly woke up after feeling something pressed directly against her thigh through the tent wall. She quickly woke her husband, convinced that something was standing just outside. When he rushed out to check, there was nothing there.
And out. And I immediately turned more this way and just started saying, David, 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 trying to get him awake. Got him awake, and I'm like, something just basically stuck whatever on my thigh, pushed in and pushed back, came back out, and something's out there. I don't know what it is, but something's out there. Are you guys in there? I don't know. But that was very strange, and he popped out maybe 60 seconds. It took me a couple of Davids to actually get him away.
Other campers reported hearing light footsteps moving around their tents, too quiet to be a large animal but clearly close by.
I did unzip and I kind of tried to see if I could see anything.
Now, the soft footsteps you heard, do you know which way?
Up in here. Up in here. Everything is always this way for me so far. I haven't heard anything over there. It seemed like they were kind of just right up in this area. And just light.
So later that day, Jonathan and Sarah Brown from Sahalish Sasquatch showed up. We grouped up around the fire.
This is a bed right here. It's too green, so it's back.
Since gone dark over there, there's no more, the motion light is no longer on, because I've noticed they'll come in. Our back light in our backyard, also motion light, went out. They learned quick that light was out. And I was like, they're coming right in the backyard now, John. So now it's pitch black in our backyard.
Do you have bear or any other animals too?
We have black bear, but we don't ever see them close. We've seen them on the other side of the res, but we've never seen them in our yard or anything. We have cougars. We actually have one that lives down in
The soft footsteps seemed to stay low to the ground, moving just outside the tent. Later that day, the group gathered together around the fire. The following day, the group discovered massive footprints in a nearby marsh, measuring over 16 inches long with a stride nearly 4 feet apart.
Everybody who is known to have a 16.5-inch footprint is 7 feet tall or greater. What's the likelihood that a person is 7 feet tall That basically comes down to 1 in 260,000. And then I had to look up what's the population of Washington, and it was a little over 8 million as of last year, and 80.
Whatever made them didn't appear normal. Moments like this don't always have a clear answer, so if you were there, would you stay through another night or leave before it gets worse? In 2015, a massive bushfire known as the Pinery Fire broke out in South Australia, driven by strong winds, extremely dry conditions, and abundant fuel across farmland and scrub. The fire spread quickly across the landscape, eventually becoming one of the most dangerous and fastest-moving fires in the region. As the fire grew, it created its own intense weather conditions, with shifting winds pushing the flames forward at high speed. Fire crews working in the area had to stay mobile and constantly reassess their positions to avoid being trapped by the advancing fire front.
Protecting this way. Stop at this location. Stop. We are going to get pumping here. We are near the head of this fire.
With little warning, the main fire front began to move in. In bushfires like this, the leading edge can travel extremely fast, turning a distant threat into immediate danger in just moments. When fire trucks get caught in situations like this, they may have to switch into what is known as burnover mode, a procedure designed for extreme conditions. This can involve deploying heat shields or reflective curtains over the windows and using onboard water systems to spray and cool the exterior of the vehicle, helping prevent it from catching fire. The truck that was recording stopped to prepare for this, as the flames began closing in faster than they could safely escape. But the truck ahead made a different decision, one that nearly put everyone in serious danger. They began reversing, and due to the limited visibility caused by smoke and fire, something dangerous unfolded.
Burn over, Scotty! Burn over! Burn over, Scotty! Jesus Christ! Jesus fucking Christ! Burn over! I've activated motor. Move out the back!
After the collision, the situation escalated very quickly because the main fire front had already reached them. The trucks that were stopped on the road were overtaken by the flames in what is known as a burnover. During this, the firefighters remained inside their vehicles and relied on the truck's protective systems while the fire passed over them. Even though it looked extremely dangerous, and it absolutely was, the burnover itself lasted a relatively short time. Once the fire front moved past, the immediate threat eased, and the crews were able to regroup and continue operations. Fortunately, there were no fatalities in this incident, and all firefighters involved survived the burnover. It really shows just how much firefighters go through, putting themselves in serious danger just to keep others safe. Moments like this make you realize how much they deserve respect. Can you think of any other big incidents where firefighters had to risk everything like this? The next chilling video comes from Hiking with Jenny, a hiker who documents both solo and group adventures on long-distance trails, known for personal storytelling, safety awareness, and immersive trail experiences. It is July 12, 2024, on the Appalachian Trail in the United States, in the Massachusetts section near Goose Pond.
To the police, and nobody ever bothered to talk to him and say this is wrong. What happened next? I was hiking with that group of people that were at the Trail Magic, and lo and behold, he's waiting for me at some pond, just standing there in the middle of the trail.
Far from any town or road. What happened next took place while she was hiking with a group of people she had met at a Trail Magic stop. While walking near a pond, she saw him again. He was standing directly on the trail, positioned in a way that made it seem like he was waiting rather than just passing through. The fact that his attention was focused specifically on her shifted the situation from a random encounter to something more intentional.
And I'm just basically gunning for the AT stand. I'm gonna get there, get on the Wi-Fi there, upload a couple videos, and have a snack break, and try and figure out, if I can get a ride to Pittsfield where I can see Lone Star. So I think that'll make me feel better.
The man approached and handed her items. The interaction seemed casual on the surface, but his attention stayed fixed on her. Combined with what had already happened earlier, it increased the concern that he might be following her movements along the trail.
And I start really, the gears in my head start turning, and I start getting a little scared. So he knows where I'm going to be hiking through, at least tomorrow. I didn't give him any specific information about where I was stopping, but he knew all of the trailheads, like he named them all to me. And so he knew which ones I might potentially be stopping at. So I was scared. I woke up.
She began to feel uneasy as the situation became more uncomfortable. That concern grew when it became clear that he knew the trail very well. Friends reached out to authorities, and police began checking trailheads, increasing visibility and lowering the chances of further contact. Being around other people was what finally made things feel safer again. What made this situation scary wasn't the place itself, but how that man acted. There wasn't just one big moment, it was a series of small things that slowly started to feel wrong. Seeing him again and again, the way he stayed near her, and how he seemed to be waiting all made it harder to ignore. It also shows how scary and uncomfortable traveling alone can become, especially in remote areas like this. Things that might not seem like a big deal at first can feel very different when you're the one being watched, far out on a long trail with nowhere else to go. That's what makes Jenny sharing this so important. It's not easy to talk about moments like this, and it takes real courage to put it out there. By sharing what happened, she helps others become more aware, so they can stay alert and make better decisions if they ever find themselves in a similar situation. Would you notice it early, or only realize when it's too late? A man set out on a multi-day camping trip deep in a remote wilderness. But what seemed like a normal trip quickly began to take a turn he never expected. That night, halfway up a quiet hillside, he lay inside a low bivvy, a faint red light scanning the trees below. The forest felt unnaturally still. No owls, no foxes, nothing. Just a heavy, waiting silence.
What I found here is a couple of tracks. Now I know this is canine. What we're looking at here is a fox cub. This is potentially a cat.
Nearby, he had found a couple of tracks. One was clearly canine, likely from a fox cub, with visible claw marks. The other had no claws and appeared noticeably larger than a typical domestic animal. Then a sudden crash tore through the undergrowth. It wasn't a soft rustle or the wind. Something moved through the bushes with force. He froze. The red beam shook slightly as he switched to a white light and pointed it toward the sound.
So I was just laying here chilling out, and something went ploughing through the bushes. It's all quiet now, but I think it's all mind over matter, right? We were walking through the woods in the dark earlier, expecting to see something, and now we're laying here. Not sure a bivvy was the best idea. Just feeling a little vulnerable, but best idea for camouflage, being that it's low-lying, but not for vulnerability.
Everything went quiet again, with only branches slowly settling. Later, back inside his bivvy, low to the ground and exposed, it happened again. Another strong movement pushed through the brush, closer this time. He stayed flat, unable to sit up, the thin canvas just inches from his face. There were no tent walls, no real barrier, only a layer of fabric between him and whatever was out there. Silence returned once more.
I don't know what the thing is.
The forest can easily play tricks on your mind, wreaking havoc on your psychological input if you don't rationalize what that sound was. Was it a big cat plowing through the undergrowth, or simply a gust of wind?
The forest can easily play tricks on the mind, especially in the dark, when sounds aren't clear. After a long night, it was time to pack up, but the quiet still didn't feel right.
Nothing on the trail. But we have had movement coming up to our bait, which is over there. Don't think it's all there. Something has been at it.
and one person in the woods chasing an expert at evasion. Maybe I was just chasing my tail. Or maybe Discovery was right.
There had been movement near the bait area. The search felt uncertain, like trying to track something that didn't want to be found. He was alone in the woods, following something difficult to trace. He could have spent days out there and still come away with nothing but unclear signs. Whatever it was, it moved with weight, and he had no idea what it was. Sometimes it's hard to tell if it's just the environment or something actually there. So if you were alone out there, would you trust your instincts or try to ignore it? The video comes from Cabin Life, a channel that documents off-grid living, wilderness travel, and real-life cabin experiences in remote environments. It is February 24th, 2026. This disturbing wilderness encounter began in a remote, snow-covered area of Ontario, Canada. After returning to the cabin from checking a trail camera, the team comes across a moose and her calf resting directly along the path. The snow is waist-deep, daylight is fading, and movement is already limited. In conditions like this, changing direction is difficult. They stop immediately, realizing they have entered the animal's space.
Waiting to see if Mama Moose and her calf is going to be moving on. She was having a little rest there, and we really didn't want to bother her. When we started approaching a little bit too close, we noticed her ears were going back, and the body language was telling us, okay, that's close enough. We thought maybe she'd leave, but no. So anyway, we decided, let her rest, and we'll go do something else for a while.
The moose is now clearly visible up close, her size noticeable as her posture shifts, ears pinned back and focused forward. With a calf present, defensive behavior becomes more likely. The team begins to move sideways, slowly avoiding any direct approach toward her. The moose then starts moving along the same path in their direction. With deep snow restricting both speed and movement, stepping off the trail becomes the only option. The situation grows more tense. In such a limited space, even a single aggressive move could quickly lead to serious consequences.
Hang on, make sure she's not coming.
Well,
I figure the best thing to do at this point is, if she's coming, give her the room and let her walk right down the path past us.
she's gonna stay up there with her baby.
Well, she was coming.
Was she?
Yeah. Now what do I do? I guess I gotta go back to see if how far she advanced down the path.
Later, the moose blocks the path completely, cutting off access back to the cabin. This forces the team to wait, as in remote conditions like this, there are no alternative routes, only patience. The situation turns into a temporary standoff rather than a confrontation. This situation wasn't really about the animal attacking, but more about where everyone was standing. There was no direct danger at first, but with deep snow, poor visibility, and a mother animal protecting her baby, things could turn risky very quickly. The team handled it by slowing down, giving the animal space, and avoiding any sudden movements, which helped keep things from getting worse. Sometimes it's not about what the animal does, but where you are when you run into it. So if you were there, would you stay put or try to move? The next video comes from Raznik Outdoors, a US-based adventure channel that focuses on solo trips into remote wilderness, combining first-person exploration with local history and environmental awareness. It is January 31st, 2026, in the Appalachian Mountains, United States, in the Linville Gorge area of North Carolina. The Appalachian landscape is known for its dense forests, deep valleys, and rugged terrain. But those same features also make it hard to navigate. It's easy for hikers to lose their way if they don't pay close attention to the differences between trails and landmarks. All of these factors together create a serious risk, where one small mistake could leave someone stuck in a place that is very difficult to escape. The terrain is rough and challenging for search and rescue, and in this area, It can take days to locate someone.
And the majority of the trails out here are completely unmarked. My footprints are the only footprints on this trail. I am completely alone out here. All of these factors added together creates this terrifying thought that one mistake, that's it. You're stuck out here. You're probably never going home. Like I said, these mountains are almost impassable. The Linville Gorge in North Carolina is really bad about this. It's one of Appalachia's most rugged terrains. People go missing out there. It takes days to find them. And most of the time, they're not found alive.
As he moves deeper into the forest, he begins to notice more unexpected things. Scattered throughout the area are old iron mining sites with abandoned shafts and cave systems hidden among the trees. Many of them are unmarked and partially concealed, making them dangerous and easy to miss. Stepping off the trail in a place like this adds even more risk, as the ground can be unstable and hidden openings may be nearby.
Me personally, I've heard tons of unexplained noises in these woods. I've had friends that have seen unexplained things. I've heard stories from family of feral people up in these hollers. And people have lived in these mountains for hundreds of years, and their stories still live today. Go to the Linville Gorge in North Carolina, there's the Brown Mountain Lights, which is an unexplained phenomenon that has existed for thousands of years. Even the local natives in the area reported seeing these lights floating above the mountains. So when the scientists came over in the 1900s and were like, oh, well, these are just lights from cars across the valley, or train lights, or planes, that doesn't explain it, because the natives have been seeing these lights far before the settlers even came over here. Now back to the feral people, this kind of piggybacks off what I said about the caves and kind of goes on to the theory is that there's feral people living in these mountains, kidnapping people and taking them into the caves. I mean, like I said, these mountains are so thick that even a rabbit can hardly get off the trail sometimes. So who's to say way back in the backcountry, way out in the hollers, there's not these feral people or wild humans living there? So what is it about these mountains that seems to draw so much attention? Well, the fact of the matter is they're rugged, they're remote, they're dangerous, they're old as time itself, they're full of history and folklore.
He has also heard strange sounds in the woods, along with similar stories shared by others. Local stories describe unusual sightings and strange events over time. The region has a long history, and these stories have been passed down through generations. There are also reports of mysterious lights in the mountains that have been seen for many years. These lights were observed long before modern explanations were suggested. There are also theories about people living deep in the mountains, in areas that are extremely remote and difficult to access. The forest is so dense that leaving the trail becomes very difficult. The mountains are known for being rugged, remote, and dangerous, as well as for their history and the stories connected to them. Even though the area looks beautiful, it can feel unsettling. There may not be any clear, disturbing wilderness encounter captured on camera, but it's clear that this environment still carries real risks for anyone hiking or camping here. With terrain and conditions like this, would you want to explore a place like this yourself? The shocking video comes from Unqualified Outdoorsman, a UK-based outdoor adventure channel focused on hiking, bushcraft, and real-time family experiences in remote environments. It is March 29, 2026, in a remote woodland area in the United Kingdom. A father and son set out on a quiet hike through snowy woods, planning to stop and cook along the way. The area seems calm at first, but small details start to stand out, like abandoned decorations, a makeshift shelter, and uneven ground. On their own, these things don't seem unusual, but together they begin to feel a little off. They find a glove and decide to leave it where it is. Not long after, they notice a knife, but choose not to touch it.
Do I leave it there?
Free glove?
I'm just gonna leave it. Then a knife.
A knife?
Yeah, it's a knife. No, leave that there, man.
While getting ready to start a fire, they spot someone standing among the trees. The person stays still, partly hidden by the surroundings. With the light fading and visibility getting worse, it's hard to tell how far away he is or what he's doing. The way he doesn't move makes it feel like he's there on purpose. The situation quickly starts to feel more disturbing when they notice blood nearby. There's enough of it to make them wonder what might have happened.
This is actually... And that's when we saw it. Blood. I just stood there for a second, trying to figure out what I was even looking at. Was this fresh or old? What actually happened here? Maybe it was an animal. Maybe something got a kill out here. Or something got hurt and just ran off. but it didn't feel like that. There was just too much. And then my mind started going somewhere else.
As they begin heading back, the man starts walking toward them. The uncertainty grows as they prepare for what could turn into a confrontation.
Whoa! We saw him. The same old man. But this time, he was walking towards us. My heart dropped. After everything we had just seen, the blood, the knife, nothing about this felt right. My mind started racing. Does he know we saw it? Were we not supposed to find that? Why is he coming straight at us?
When they finally speak to him, they find out he's the landowner. He is legally hunting in the area, and the glove, knife, and blood are all connected to that. The situation is quickly explained, and the tension drops once everything makes sense. In the end, it felt scary not because something dangerous was actually happening, but because of how it looked. Seeing the knife, the blood, and the man made it easy to imagine something worse. When you're alone in a place like this, your mind can quickly jump to the wrong conclusion. So if you were there, would you stay calm or start thinking something wasn't right? The final video of the night comes from Holy Swole Outdoors, a US-based adventure channel focused on physically demanding hikes and real-time backcountry experiences. It is March 21st, 2026, in Oregon, United States. But this trip into the remote wilderness carried a very different atmosphere.
What's that? What's that? Do you hear that? I don't think it's that crazy. Did you not hear that? Did you kick something down? I don't think so. So he ran down this trail, and I just heard something crash like over here in the bushes, but it sounded like something running. The worst thing is a mountain lion or a bear. A summer climb here would be really cool, but it'd be hot. This is a nice night for it. Kelvin, well, I just checked the map. We still have like 3 or 4 miles up just to the top. We can always just turn back around. Psych, you thought. My calves are literally about to seize up. Look, there's a slight incline and the breeze started picking up.
It's gonna be cold tonight, guys.
Yeah, but that feels amazing. Holy steep. What? Don't do that to, oh, nah.
A sudden movement breaks the silence, and the hikers stop right away. In dense woodland, sound can travel in unpredictable ways, but how close it seems suggests something is moving nearby rather than far away. Without seeing anything, the source remains unknown, creating uncertainty rather than immediate danger.
A deer or a bear or something. What is that? Something was over there. I was checking maps and big crashing noise. I don't know. I think we're in one of the campsites. Oh yeah, we are.
All right, guys, let's camp. We'll call it a day today, guys.
I mean, we could almost. No, we gotta keep going. I'm so dehydrated.
More faint sounds echo through the forest, and with limited visibility, each noise feels more significant. The surroundings feel active, even though nothing can be clearly seen. The hikers pause often, choosing to listen instead of continuing forward. As they move along the trail, fatigue and darkness begin to affect their awareness. Their pace slows down, and staying focused becomes necessary to keep control. As they get closer to finishing the loop, they remain cautious. This hike is shaped by buildup rather than a single moment. Darkness, fatigue, rough terrain, and nearby movement all overlap. Each one alone can be managed, but together they become more demanding. There is no direct encounter, yet the environment never fully feels calm. In conditions like this, where visibility is low and sound becomes the main guide, uncertainty is what keeps the tension going until the end. Sometimes it's not about seeing something clearly, but how everything feels around you. So if you were there, would you keep going or turn back? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.